Life is a winding road, no telling where it goes. Driving through days and nights, won't stop for traffic lights. And I really wanna know.
Welcome to another episode of Successfully Chaotic, the podcast where we navigate the wild terrain of life and entrepreneurship. I'm your host, Maria Daniels, and today we are diving into a theme that is close to my heart and also one that we have been talking with our guests about so far this season, chaos to clarity. But before we dive into the chaos, just remember, if you enjoy our podcast, don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. Your feedback really fuels this whole journey, and we really appreciate it. So let's get started. All right. So obviously this podcast is called Successfully Chaotic. So you've probably figured out that I know a little bit about the theme of chaos. But, all in all, when life throws us curveballs, no matter what your life typically looks like, there's ups and downs and sideways and twists. It is chaotic. It's unpredictable. And sometimes it's downright messy. But here's the secret. That chaos is actually where the magic happens. And I know you're like, well, that's crazy. I'm serious. Looking back, and I'm sure that if you're listening to this right now, just sit and think back to a really messy, chaotic time in your life. And also think about how your life looks like right now. Or maybe you're in the middle of a messy spot, and you're like, you're crazy, you're insane. I'm telling you, stop for a moment and think back to when it was messy before and how you learned things during those times. And how when you came out of that messiness, you came out with a little bit more clarity, or maybe it triggered you to be able to find that clarity. The messiest times in my life were actually, in the long run, things that allowed me to learn things that I did not know before. And, one of the things that I have learned is that by embracing this chaos during those messy times, it really is a catalyst for growth, for innovation, and for personal transformation. So let's talk about this. What does chaos mean to you? And how have you navigated it in your life and business? Now, I do want to say, while chaos can be, exhilarating after the fact, and you come out of it like, I figured all these things out, because I had to, right? It's also overwhelming. And I don't want to, downplay the feelings in that moment, because during the messy overwhelm, you can feel like you're stuck in a thick fog, and that's okay. And if you're there right now, just keep breathing through it and just look for one little glimmer of hope, of focus, of clarity. Pick one thing that you can focus on until you're out of that fog. But I do want to say that when you're finding your way from chaos to clarity, there's no one size fits all answer, but there are strategies and there's tools that can help. So I'd like to sit and, explore some of these practical tips together, from the power of self-awareness to the art of setting priorities. A lot of these strategies really act as a guiding light in the midst of that chaos. I know me personally, I've been through a lot of crazy, chaotic, super, super messy times. And some of them were, easy to kind of find that light and guide myself out of it. And some of them, it took a while. For some of them, they were so messy. They were so messy that I didn't think I'd ever find the way out. I couldn't even see which way I needed to go. It was like I was stuck in the darkest, blackest cave, and I didn't even know which way to go. I had lost my sense of direction. And if you're feeling like that right now, it's okay, right? There will be a moment that you'll see a glimmer, and it may only just be a glimmer, and it may only just be there for a moment. But I really, really strongly implore you to focus on that glimmer and to use that time to peel off the things from your life that don't fit, that don't feel good, that don't really pull you into what you feel your purpose is. Those are those moments that, while they feel like they might break us, they're actually allowing us to shed off all of those things that just don't fit. Sometimes the best way to understand a journey is by hearing stories of those that's walked that path. And that's a lot of why I started this podcast to begin with, is to share those stories. That while entrepreneurship can be successes and amazing achievements and all of those amazing, great things, it also can be filled with real life ups and downs and failures, and times where you're not sure if you're on the right path, and times where you feel like you're not sure you should have ever started, and times where you want to just turn it all off and run away, and times where you feel like this is what you're meant to do. And all of that is okay. And throw in just the atypical messiness of life, of kids and bills and marriage and partnerships, friendships, all of those things. And you've got a recipe for potential chaos, right? And that's okay. I would really like you to think about your own journey. I want you to sit and reflect on it. I'm sure if you're like me, there's things you think about and you're like, oh man, I wish that hadn't happened. And if this hadn't happened, then I would be in a better spot. Or if this had gone through the way that I wanted it to, then I would have been set. Or one other fill in the blank answer, right? But if we're honest with ourselves, a lot of these things that didn't work, or a lot of these things that we went through, we learned from them. And I will never be one of those people that says that bad things happen to us for a reason, because I don't really like that. I understand the theme behind it, right? That bad things happen for a reason. I understand that theme. But the reality of it is bad things are bad. Terrible things happen. I've been through some terrible things. And I will never say that those were good. But what I can say, coming through this part of my journey to now, is I understand the things I learned from them. Would I have learned them without that? Yeah, possibly, probably. A whole lot less trauma, right? But I can find that glimmer. Instead of focusing on only the trauma, I can focus on the glimmer that I took from it, the lesson that I learned about myself. I can focus on those things. And I think those are some of the things that we really need to focus on when we're talking about going from chaos to clarity, because it starts with it, right? It doesn't matter how many books you read. I'm an avid reader. I love reading books. But it doesn't matter how many books you read. It doesn't matter how many planners you buy. It doesn't matter how many online calendars you have. It doesn't even matter, right? You can follow all of the lists and the get all the apps and do all the things. And if you don't have this one thing figured out, it will be for naught. The clarity starts with you realizing that only you can find that moment of clarity in the chaos. I can't find it for you. Your friends can't find it for you. Your mentor can't find it for you. You have to find it. And it can be subtle. It can be faint, especially depending on how thick that fog you're in is right now. It may literally be a faint glimmer. But to be able to find that clarity, you have to focus on one thing that you can focus on, that you can do something about. Don't worry about changing your whole life and writing this perfect plan of all the things you're going to do to come out the other side. That can come later. If you're in the middle of all of the chaos right now, I want you to think about what is one thing that's going to move you forward in the direction of clarity that you want your life to look like. And maybe that's literally just getting up out of bed and going and taking a shower. Or maybe it's deciding that you're going to do something for yourself. Or maybe it's deciding to finish that book that you've been working on. Or maybe it's deciding to quit that job where they treat you like crap. Or maybe it's deciding to go get that job that you've been afraid to go get. It doesn't even matter what that thing is. It's just deciding that you are going to focus on that to find your clarity. And during this journey of focusing on one thing, other things will come up, and it'll be almost like adding to it. It'll be pulled in like a magnet. You have to start out with that first thing, because it all starts with that. That is the catalyst moment in the middle of the chaos. That is the moment where it all makes sense. When you have nothing else to focus on except that one thing, that's automatic clarity. That is automatic focus, because you're going to allow everything else to kind of repel off of you like water. And you're going to focus on that one thing. I'm telling you, life at this point, I love life. Do I have moments where I'm like, life sucks? Absolutely. But overall, I love it. I love the ups and downs and twists and turns. And I think life would be really boring without them. The lessons that I've learned along the journey that I've lived so far are invaluable. And I just wanted to leave you with this thought before I wrap up. Your journey matters, and your story, it has the power to inspire others. So again, as you're going through whatever you're going through right now, or maybe you've already come out the other side and you've, gained some clarity, and you have these stories within you that you want to tell, that can inspire other people to embrace their own chaos, to seek clarity, to find their own definition of success in this crazy life. As we're wrapping up today's episode, I know this has been a short solo episode, and we'll be coming back actually later with another live today. So I'm keeping this super short, but I want you to remember that it's okay to embrace your chaos, because in the end, it's what makes our path unique and beautiful. And I also would love it if you would go to our Podbean, Successfully Chaotic, or you can go to Successfully Chaotic on any of your favorite podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple, and you can listen to more episodes of Successfully Chaotic, where we explore the highs and lows of entrepreneurship. And I've been chatting with some amazing guests the last few episodes, and they've got some amazing stories that I know that you would enjoy. So until next time, keep embracing the chaos of life and finding your clarity and defining your own success.
Life is a winding road, no telling where it goes. Driving through days and nights, won't stop for traffic lights.